welcome back to my channel. My name is Wendy. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, I appreciate you stopping by and I hope that you'll consider subscribing. I upload videos every week on motivation, inspiration, and just life topics. And occasionally I will pop in some videos that have to do with food or even outfits, hauls, etc. So I hope that you'll stick around and join my family. Today's video is actually a very interesting one because I feel like there isn't a lot of conversation around this topic. And the topic is acceptance. Accepting where we are in life and just being conscious, because this is a huge and integral part of us having inner peace. And I find that sometimes I do struggle with that. So I'm being completely, again, transparent and honest with you guys. I like to speak about things that I have personally lived or experienced because I feel that's what I can best speak to, and maybe you'll be able to relate to that. We go through different stages in our lives. And I think there comes a point where you really just have to step back and realize where you are in life. It's not like you become this person and you stay in that stage forever until we're no longer here. That's just not the way it works. Life happens and we evolve and we change as we continue to live. I personally find that for me, I struggle with being able to realize that this is my life right now and I cannot do the things that I did, 10, 15 years ago. And not necessarily in the sense of like going out and partying, having a good time. It's not about that. It's more like career-wise, when I used to work, I used to be able to look forward to all the trips and the traveling that came with that role. And it was exciting and it was something that I loved to do. But then there came a point in time where I had kids and it was not the same. Like I didn't have that excitement anymore to go out of town for 2 or 3 nights. I wasn't excited to have to travel for a training for a week long somewhere else and leave my kids behind. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like our lives change and things, change in our status, and that affects everything else that we do. I'll give you another example. So, people can easily pick up and take a vacation, and I'm not saying that if you have kids, you can't do that. You absolutely can. However, this applies differently to each family. Everyone feels, different on the topic. For me and my husband, we just don't feel comfortable, not because we don't trust the people that we have in our lives to, stay with our children, like the grandparents, of course we trust them, but we just don't feel right leaving them behind. And so in that aspect, I have to accept that that is the reality that my husband and I are in right now, that we, from the very beginning, when we had children, said that we were not comfortable with that. What if something happens to us while we're on the trip and they're not with us? We don't get to be with them, or vice versa, something happens to them and we're out of state. So because of that, we don't usually take any vacations like just him and I. If we go somewhere, it's all of us together or none at all. And so that is something that I just have to accept. And it's awesome because I see a lot of friends and family members that get to go on tons of vacations and they leave their children behind. My sister does that. She's done that, since her babies were little, since my nieces and nephews were babies. And that's absolutely fine. That's a decision she made and she's comfortable with it. But sometimes you look at that and you're like, oh, geez, I really, wish I need a break. I wish you could go somewhere. I wish you could just get on a plane, hop on a plane, take off and go away for a few days. But the reality is that my life situation is not that. That is not the agreement, and that is not something that sits well with me. It's a nice thought, but it wouldn't sit well with me. When we look at social media and when we look on TV and we see the lifestyle of all these people around us, famous people, people of fame. So you look at, I'll put Kim Kardashian, you see her Instagram, you see all of that stuff, and you may comment and you may even interact with that person. And it might give you the illusion that like you're in the same, you ride in the same group, but you don't, because your lifestyle is different. And so you may see that this person is, spending XYZ dollars, or, like she's just got it, all these things going on. And you start to think like, well, how come I don't have that? You start to compare. And it could even be comparison on the level of, one family to another family. Like their kids are doing these things. Why can't my kids do that? Or their kids attended this program. Why can't my kids attend this program? And so it becomes this constant comparison. Accepting where we are in life. Accepting that everybody is on their own path. Everyone is on their own journey. And accepting not only brings you peace, but it also allows you to appreciate everything that you are doing, everything that you have done to get you to where you are at this point. It's funny, but I see that quote often on either captions or just quotes in general on like memes, but it'll say, something about like, I'm living the life that I dreamed of yesterday or something like that. And that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I think it's like hair, because I'm in like the hair biz, but it's like hair, people who have curly hair want straight hair most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. People with blonde hair might want, reds or brunette hair. People with dark hair want light hair, and the list goes on and on and on. We are constantly just thinking like that, what if? What if I had this and what if I had that? And same goes with our life. When I was younger and I was, in between like a teen and a young adult stage, and you would see these established couples and families, and I'd be like, oh my God, this whole dating thing is like overrated. Like you just want to find that one person, settle down, have your family, and everything else will be wonderful and fall into place. I'm going to have no problems, right? Everything's going to be picture perfect, the little house with the white fence. And, you get to that stage and then you start thinking, oh my God, I wish that I could do this and I wish I could do that. And again, it's like we're never fully 100% content. And that happens when we are comparing. When we are comparing ourselves, when we're comparing our lives, when we're comparing our looks, when we're comparing our, jobs that we have, all of that, we're all on our very own unique path. And we need to accept where we are in life. In order for us to move forward, we need to accept it. Because then I can, with a clear mind, say, okay, this is where I'm at now. And I'm going to be 100% present and involved in the life that I'm living right now. And you appreciate the little things. I appreciate, sometimes the mess, 9 times out of 10, I'm like freaking out and spazzing out when I start seeing a mess, and there's things that are accumulating and it seems like, oh my God, this is too much. Like, why isn't anyone picking it up? And you get into that like soldier routine where you're like, all right, kids, come on, we got to pick this up. This cannot be this way. And then there's that other day, that 1%, where I'm just kind of like, okay, wait a minute. This is the stage that I'm in. Let me appreciate it, because there's going to be a day that my kids will not be here. There's going to be a day that there's going to be no mess, and that my house is going to stay spotless from the day I cleaned it to the weekend. And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss having the noise, having to shout over them like, can you guys please be quiet? I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to listen to something. I'm trying to watch something. And so just accepting where we are in life. If you're a mother or a father, parents, accepting that stage that your kids need you right now, that your kids, require your attention, and that you do have to pick up after them sometimes. That's reality. I'm not saying, raise lazy kids, but they're children. And I know when I was a kid, I did the same thing. There was times where I left things and I was, having to pick up when my mother was, calling my attention. And then the same thing goes whether if you're a career woman and you don't have your family yet, you haven't settled down yet, and that's okay. Accept where you are right now and do the best that you can in your career to further yourself. And to, if it's something you're very passionate about, immerse yourself in it and enjoy that time. And if you're not in that stage and you're a teenager and it's all about having fun and going to the mall and going to Starbucks and hanging out with your friends, enjoy it. And that's one thing that I have to say. Like when my husband and I were dating, we had a great time. We, had fun. We went places, we went out to the clubs and we went out for drinks. And so like when I had my kids, those first years, I wasn't like, oh my God, you know, like dying to get out, because I felt like I did that. I did that stage, and now I get to be the mommy that I wanted to be. You know, all those years envisioning my family, now I have that family. And so again, we go through stages, Everything in life is a stage, and we just have to accept that. And I guarantee you that you're going to have peace. I'll tell you guys a funny story. So we have 3 vehicles, but we don't use one of them. We primarily use 2, but then one of those was not working right. And it was during like the pandemic and everything. So it's like, that's okay. We don't have to like hurry up and make any repairs on it right away, because we're home all the time anyway. And if we go out, it's all of us together. So we'll use the other vehicle. Well, I started work again, and there were a few trips that I've had to make. And I told my husband, like, I really want to like get my car fixed. And he said, okay, fine, I'll get it fixed. I'm going to order some parts. And so by the time things get in and everything, like the first day I had to use the other vehicle. And I was just like, it was like, I know it sounds silly. It's silly. I know. And in hindsight, I can 100% see like, where was my mind at? Like, it doesn't matter. And I was just not accepting it. Like, I wanted my car. And so my husband just kept saying, like, it's fine, just take the other car, it's fine. And that whole night that I just kept thinking, like, well, I wonder if we could fix this. Well, I wonder if we could fix that. I wonder if I go to this store, if they would have that part. I wonder. My husband's like, listen, we're going to take care of it, but just for this day, like, just take the other car. It's not that big of a deal, right? Well, it was a big of a deal for me. And that next day, like, I was leaving to work, and it was like playing over and over in my head, like, I wish I had my car. I wish I had my car. I wish I had my car. I wish it worked. I wish, you know, that I had to drive this bulky thing. And it's not like the car that I was driving is horrible. I mean, it's a Navigator, you know, it's just bigger. But in my mind, it was not my car. So, long story short, it was like God spoke to me, like, snap out of it, right? Because sometimes we need that smack. And it was that. It was like, all of a sudden I felt like, if I would just accept that my vehicle is not working right now and that I have to take this other one, it would be end of story, done. I wouldn't be thinking about it over and over again. I wouldn't be stressing out. I wouldn't be like disconnected from everything else that's going on, because that is consuming my mind. I would be fine. And nobody cares. It's like, you're driving into work, nobody cares. It's not like I'm riding with someone, or like they're like staring at me like, oh my God, she's driving this big old Navigator. It's like, who cares? Who cares, right? I know it sounds silly, and I guess the moral of the story is exactly that. It becomes silly when we start comparing everything, when we start nitpicking at everything, and we don't accept our reality. The sooner we accept where we are, the sooner we can continue on with our lives and move forward and put all that thought and energy into something positive so we can move forward. What I'm saying, it's not about being perfect and me sitting up here like, oh, I've never been through anything like that. I'm absolutely perfect. I'm saved. You know, I walk this fine line the way God wants me to, because I'm human. I'm human, and the reality is that we do compare. And there is that stress that society puts on us about where you should be in life, you know, what you should be doing, what your kids should be doing, what your husband should be doing, what your house should look like, what your car should look like, what your clothes should, I mean, it goes on and on and on. And if we let all of that influence us and rob us of our peace, we will never, ever, ever be content with what we have. We will never appreciate what we have. Because for everything that you don't want in your life, there's somebody out there that wants that. And our kids, our homes, our relationships, our families, our parents, nothing is forever in this life. You know, there's going to be a day where we might wake up and that person or that, you know, something that we care about is not there. And so we have to appreciate where we are. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you'll subscribe. I hope you'll share this with someone who needs to hear this reminder that you have everything that you need. You are in the place that you need to be in. And God has amazing things lined up for you. But you have to just accept where you are. hang on tight, have faith. If you're in a stage in life that you don't like, a stage in life that you don't want to be in, just keep your faith. Keep strong, stay consistent in your faith. I was, side note, listening to a sermon, and it was about, staying consistent with our faith. And if we believe that God has something better in store for us, then let's live our lives that way. And let's continue chugging along our path, not worrying about, the current circumstance, because we believe and we have faith that that will change. And sometimes it takes a while, it takes years. But if you stay consistent, we're able to overcome all those daily hurdles. And at the same time, we're able to show God that that's okay. That's okay that this is what I'm working with right now, because I know that you're preparing something so much better for me. And that's fine. I'm going to stick to it. That's something that resonated with me. And I hope that it's touching you in your life and allowing you to see maybe that the circumstances that you're in right now are not as bad as they seem, and that if they are not what you were anticipating, just to hold on, hang in there, because like I said, better things are coming, my friends. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye. See you next time.